Hello guys and welcome back. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at the new Warband update. Now the update consists of a new game mode called Invasion. Now this invasion mode takes place on a 16 slot server where you and your teammates have to survive waves of AI enemies. When you spawn in, you select your gear like you would in any other multiplayer server, as well as 2 companions. Now certain companions are better at certain things. For example, one may be good at cavalry, the other better at archery. Sometimes when an enemy dies, a chest will spawn. Within these chests, you can find special items, for example, team change javelins, which when you throw them and then you hit an enemy, that enemy will actually change to your team, or kicking boots, which actually do a lot of damage when you actually do the kicking animation. Now you can choose whether to equip these items to you or your companions as long as they're the right class. For example, archers cannot use throwing weapons. Every few waves, a boss wave will spawn consisting of a lord and better units. Now you have a basic overview of what this game mode is. I would like to talk about it in a little bit more detail. However, I'm not really going to spend very long doing it because there aren't an awful lot of features within this game mode. It's a free update at the end of the day that a few members from Tale Worlds have been working on. However, they insist that this is not halting Bannerlord's development in any way. This is just something they're doing on the side and it's not affecting Bannerlord's development. Do not have that assumption whatsoever. Now, I believe this update is a very nice feature to add, especially if you're from single player and you're trying to get into multiplayer. I mean, it allows you to play with other players, however, not being completely outclassed like you would when you log into a deathmatch server, for example, because obviously single player players haven't got the same skill that committed multiplayer players have, and obviously you'll find a lot of those committed players in all of the multiplayer servers. Now I do like the idea of being able to open chests and get items such as javelin bows and that sort of thing, so you can actually get bows that fire javelins, and it does actually work quite well. And it definitely adds a little bit of fun to the native multiplayer community. However, I do emphasize on the word native because there are so many mods that have gone above and beyond what we've seen in this update. For example, Nord Invasion and Full Invasion, where they have very similar features to what you will find in this mod. However, on the positive side, I do see that this could be very, very good for native players, especially ones that have come from single player, as I mentioned previously, because often you'll find the players that do play that single player will just remain there and not even try multiplayer. And in my opinion, multiplayer is just so much better. You have so much more interaction, and obviously a lot of my channel is based off multiplayer gameplay, and I just don't think you can witness anything like that in single player. Again, that's all down to opinion. Please do not slaughter me in the comments. I know single player is very, very good. And in fact, I've got a video coming out in single player by the end of December. Now, I would like to talk about some of the things I'd like to see implemented into this update. Now, the first thing is sword bows, where you actually get to fire swords from your bow. I'd like to see this implemented because it's just another feature that we haven't really seen in any other mod that I can think of. And I do know it's possible because the Tale Wars developers did actually confirm this in Lionheart's stream, as someone suggested it in the chat. Now, sword bows could actually have 2 meanings. For example, you could cycle between able to fire your bow normally and actually being able to press X, for example, and changing it into a melee mode. That would be very cool because bows could actually have 2 modes, very similar to the Napoleonic War system where you have a fire mode and a melee mode. The next feature I'd like to see added is to do with horses. For example, they could do more charge damage where they run into a group of enemies, knocking them down and actually dealing more damage than they would normally. I'd also like horses being able to receive speed buffs, for example, where they can actually increase their speed. For example, you get on a Corsa, open a chest where there's a speed buff in it, and then that horse can just go twice the speed, for example. That would also allow your lance stabbing damage to be a lot higher, and it would just make it really fun, being able to run around the map, one-hitting enemies. I'd love to do that. In addition, I'd like to see your character being able to actually get buffs. For example, a swing speed buff, where you can actually swing your weapon a lot faster. Also, something I saw suggested a lot while I was actually in-game was actually being able to receive AI in your chests. For example, you could get a certain amount of weak AI or actually get one really strong AI, for example, a high-tier Nordic unit. I'd also like to see some form of custom map. Now, I know developers don't really need to do this. However, maybe one of the mappers out there could create a map that's just a little bit more interesting to what we actually have now, as we're only using native maps that aren't really that exciting, and I get very bored quite quickly, especially when I'm just on an open snow map. Lastly, I'd like to see some sort of healing mechanic implemented, whether that's sleeping in a bed for a certain amount of time, or whether that's like a healing buff where you regain health over time, or whether that's a companion that actually can heal you when you're near them, or something like that. I think that would be very cool. I'm not sure if the engine would support it, however, it would be very nice to see. Anyway, guys, I think that will wrap it up for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that like button if you did enjoy. And also make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new. We are so close to 9,000 subscribers. Remember, I mean, it's a little bit far-fetched now, but we're trying to get 10,000 subs by the end of the year. It would be absolutely phenomenal, and I couldn't thank you guys enough if that does actually happen. Make sure to check the description for all the information you could possibly need, including how to get the beta for the invasion mode. Also, make sure to find the link in the description, which will take you to my Twitter, where you guys can interact with me as much as you want. Lastly, guys, on the 20th of December, I will be uploading my Mountain Blade Persistent World event, and I know so many of you actually turned up to that. I think around 160 subscribers from me and Arcade Knight actually turned up for this event, and we did sea battles, we did massive cavalry battles, we did massive siege events, we did a field battle, and oh my god, it was so amazing. I cannot wait to show you guys the footage. Anyway, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely brilliant day, and I will see you in the next one.